What if I told you that these 15 incredibly cheap items could become priceless during the next economic crisis? The surprising part is that none of them are gold, silver, or expensive gadgets. Most cost just a few dollars and sit quietly on store shelves that millions of people walk past every day. History shows that in every crisis, the first things to disappear are usually not the most expensive items. They are the ordinary products that help people keep living, make repairs, stay clean, create light, and maintain a sense of order. When stores begin limiting purchases, supply chains slow down, or extreme weather throws everything into chaos, the true value of an item is no longer determined by the price on the tag. It is determined by whether you can still find it at all. And here is the interesting part. The item at the top of this list is so small that most people have never even considered stockpiling it. But on a cold, dark, and damp night, it could be worth more than a large bill in your wallet. Watch until the end, because there is a good chance that one of the items you are about to see is sitting on a shelf at a supermarket near you right now at the lowest price you may ever see. 15. Basic First Aid Kit. You are clearing fallen branches after a storm when a sharp piece of metal slices your hand. The cut is only a few centimeters long, but the nearest pharmacy is closed, the emergency room is overcrowded, and the last clean bandage in the house was used months ago. That is when you realize that what you are missing is not money, but a first aid kit that was prepared in advance. That is also why first aid kits are consistently among the fastest disappearing items after natural disasters or supply chain disruptions. Today, a basic first aid kit in the United States typically costs between $10 and $25, while a more complete family-sized kit usually ranges from $30 to $40. That price is almost insignificant compared to the value it provides when you need to treat a cut, a minor burn, or a small injury at home. The most valuable part is not the plastic box itself, but the supplies inside it. Adhesive bandages, sterile gauze, alcohol wipes, medical tape, small tweezers, scissors, and antibiotic ointment. They are compact, easy to divide into smaller kits, and almost everyone understands their value when stores run out of stock or when it takes hours in line just to buy basic supplies. Many people make the same mistake. They buy a first aid kit and leave it on a shelf for years without ever opening it. Then, when they finally need it, they discover the gauze is gone, the scissors are rusted, or the medications have expired. People with experience usually spend a few minutes each year restocking supplies and preparing an additional small kit for the car or an emergency backpack. A first aid kit will not make you richer, but it can keep one bad day from turning into a bad week. In a crisis, the thing that keeps a family moving forward is sometimes not gold or cash, but simply a first aid kit that was prepared ahead of time. 14. Bic lighters. In an ordinary home, a Bic lighter is just another item sitting in a drawer alongside rubber bands, old batteries, and a few keys that nobody remembers the purpose of. But when the power goes out, the stove is not working, the candles are still unlit, water needs to be heated, and the room begins to grow cold. That small object suddenly changes position. It is no longer a miscellaneous item. It becomes control over fire. In the United States, a Bic lighter typically costs only about $1 to $2, and buying them in multi-packs is even cheaper. Because they are so inexpensive, many people do not view them as something worth preparing for. But in a crisis, their value is not in the plastic, the fuel, or the spark wheel. Their value lies in the fact that they can do something many expensive devices cannot do when the power is out. Create fire instantly. A single lighter can light candles, ignite a camp stove, start tinder, heat the tip of a metal tool, or help create a small heat source when the weather turns cold. And because it is small, lightweight, portable, and easy to divide individually, a lighter is also one of the most natural barter items. You do not have to explain its value. Anyone who needs fire will understand immediately. What is often overlooked is how they are stored. Do not leave lighters inside a hot vehicle, near heat sources, in damp locations, or buy only one and assume that is enough. A lighter can fail, get lost, or run out of fuel at exactly the wrong moment. It is better to have several distributed between your home, vehicle, and emergency bag. When people cannot create fire, the person with a lighter does not just have a tool. They have warmth, light, the ability to cook, and a form of leverage that cash alone sometimes cannot buy. 13. Small LED flashlights. The most dangerous thing about a power outage is not the darkness itself. It is the fact that you still have to move around, find things, check the breaker panel, get medication, or go down into the basement while barely being able to see. A missed step, a piece of broken glass, or an electrical cord lying across the floor, things that are normally easy to avoid, can become real problems in the dark. That is why a small LED flashlight is always one of the first items people rush to buy after a storm, a major snow event, or a widespread power outage. In the United States, many small LED flashlights cost between $5 and $15, and pocket-sized models can be even cheaper. Under normal circumstances, one might sit in a drawer, in a vehicle, or beside a nightstand. But when an entire neighborhood goes dark, it instantly becomes a second set of eyes. The advantage of a flashlight is that it provides focused light, can be carried anywhere, and is safer than candles around curtains, paper, fuel, or small children. A good flashlight can help you inspect an electrical panel, find your keys, investigate a noise outside, or guide an older family member down a hallway without feeling their way step by step. Its barter value is also easy to understand. A new flashlight that works well and comes with spare batteries is always easier to trade than items that require a long explanation before someone understands their usefulness. But the biggest mistake is buying a flashlight and never testing it. Many people discover a stuck switch, leaking batteries, or a flashlight that uses hard-to-find batteries at the exact moment they need it most. It is better to choose a model that uses common batteries. Test it every few months, and keep it where it can be reached within seconds. The bedroom, the kitchen, the car, or near the stairs. A flashlight will not make a storm end sooner, but it helps you clearly see your next decision. In a crisis, darkness does not just make it harder to see, it makes every decision more dangerous. If the power went out completely tonight, could you put your hands on a flashlight within 10 seconds? 12. AA and AAA batteries. Batteries do not make noise, they do not produce light on their own, and there is nothing particularly impressive about them sitting in their packaging. But the moment the power goes out, you realize that many items around the house are not actually useless. They are simply waiting for the right pair of batteries to start working again. A radio can deliver news. A flashlight can light up again. A clock keeps running. A blood pressure monitor, remote control, or small alarm device can continue doing its job. A pack of AA or AAA batteries in the United States typically costs between $4 and $10, depending on the brand and quantity. They are inexpensive enough that most people buy them without much thought, but that is also why they are often underestimated. After a major storm or a power outage warning, batteries can disappear from store shelves very quickly because families are not buying them for just one device. They are buying them for flashlights, radios, children's toys, personal medical devices, and a variety of backup equipment. One of the unique advantages of batteries is how easily they can be divided. You do not have to trade an entire package. Just 2 AA batteries at the right moment may be enough to help someone turn on a radio again or light the way to a vehicle. That is why batteries have such natural barter value. They are small, lightweight, easy to count, easy to understand, and everyone immediately knows whether they need them or not. But do not stockpile them randomly. A common mistake is having 5 different devices that each use a different battery type, only to discover that none of them match when they are needed. Check your flashlights, radios, clocks, and small medical devices. Then standardize around 1 or 2 common battery types whenever possible. Batteries also need to be stored properly. Do not leave them inside devices for long periods because they can leak and damage the equipment. Keep them in a sealed container, in a cool and dry location, away from heat. Mark the purchase date, and rotate older packs first. A flashlight without batteries is just a piece of plastic in the dark. But a pair of the right batteries, prepared ahead of time, can keep light, information, and peace of mind available much longer than most people realize. 11. Paracord. Some items never appear on a weekly shopping list, yet when you need them, you wish you had prepared years earlier. A roll of paracord is a perfect example. It does not create food, produce light, or treat injuries, but it can keep dozens of other things functioning. A good quality roll of 550 paracord in the United States typically costs between $8 and $15 and is long enough to last for many years. When a strong wind tears loose a tarp in the yard, when a backpack strap suddenly breaks on the road, when you need to secure a garage door, set up a temporary shelter, or tie down cargo in a vehicle, you begin to understand why so many people keep at least one roll at home and another in the trunk of their car. What makes paracord special is not its simple appearance, but its adaptability. A short section can serve as a clothesline, secure a bundle of firewood, stabilize a water container, or help move moderately heavy objects. The inner strands can also be separated into smaller cords for more delicate tasks. That is why, when people start repairing things instead of replacing them, a good roll of cord becomes more valuable than many realize. The most common mistake is buying cord that is too cheap, too thin, or only looks like paracord while offering very little actual strength. Some people also leave it exposed to sun and rain for years, causing the material to deteriorate much faster. Stored in a sealed bag in a dry location, a quality roll of paracord can serve you for a very long time. Paracord is also easy to divide into smaller sections for use or trade. One person may need 5 feet. Another may need 10. Nobody has to trade away an entire roll. That is an advantage many other supplies do not have. When things begin to loosen, shift, and lose the stability they once had, sometimes the difference between a tarp staying in place, a backpack staying together, and a job getting done is simply a roll of cord sitting quietly in a drawer. When everyone else is trying to tie their world back together, you are the one holding the cord. 10. Multi-purpose tape. There is something interesting about water and wind. They always seem to find a way into your home before you can complete a proper repair. A small gap around a window, a damaged corner of a patio cover, a lightly cracked storage container, or a food container that no longer seals properly can create much bigger problems than most people realize. And in many of those situations, the first thing that proves useful is not a power tool or an expensive building material. It is simply a good roll of tape. In the United States, a quality roll of multi-purpose tape typically costs between $5 and $10 and may sit quietly in a drawer for months at a time. But when rain starts blowing through a window gap, cold air begins creeping into a bedroom, or dust continuously finds its way into stored supplies, its value changes immediately. In just a few minutes, a roll of tape can help temporarily seal a window, secure a sheet of plastic against the rain, hold down a tarp, seal a supply box, or reduce the intrusion of water and dust until a permanent repair can be made. That is also why many families keep several rolls of tape alongside flashlights and first aid kits during storm season. It does not replace proper repairs, but it can buy you hours or even days of extra time, allowing you to manage a situation on your own terms instead of rushing to fix it while supplies are limited. Many people make the mistake of buying the cheapest option available, with weak adhesive that quickly peels away in high temperatures or humid conditions. Others leave tape in a hot garage for years until the adhesive melts and loses its grip. One good quality roll stored in a cool, dry place is often far more reliable than 3 cheap ones. Unlike Paracord, which is designed for tying and securing loads, tape excels at sealing, retaining heat, blocking drafts, keeping out dust, and creating a temporary protective barrier exactly when it is needed most. During a crisis, many problems do not need a perfect repair. They simply need to remain stable for one more day. Sometimes the only thing preventing a room from getting colder, a box from getting wet, or a rainstorm from damaging important supplies is a roll of tape sitting in a drawer, ready to be used. That is not magic. That is preparation. 9. Heavy-duty trash bags. Some crises do not begin with explosions, warning sirens, or powerful storms. They begin quietly, with a full trash bag in the kitchen, an outdoor garbage bin that nobody comes to empty, the smell of food waste growing stronger inside the house, and a feeling of discomfort that the entire family does not quite know how to deal with. That is when something as ordinary as a heavy-duty trash bag stops being a supply tucked away under the sink. It becomes a tool for keeping your home from sliding into chaos. A box of heavy-duty trash bags in the United States typically costs between $6 and $15, depending on the quantity and durability. Under normal circumstances, people buy them almost without thinking, use them up, and buy more. But when trash collection services are disrupted after a storm, roads are flooded, garbage trucks cannot reach the neighborhood, or household water supplies become limited, their true value becomes obvious. You need bags strong enough to hold wet waste, dirty towels, damaged items, foul-smelling materials, or even to line an emergency sanitation bucket without tearing apart at the worst possible moment. The unique advantage of heavy-duty trash bags is that they handle the ugliest part of a crisis. The dirty things, the wet things, the smelly things, and the things nobody wants to touch. They can protect blankets and bedding from moisture, cover supplies stored outside, collect dirty clothing, temporarily cover a broken window, or be traded one at a time when neighbors realize that the thin bags in their homes cannot handle heavy loads. The biggest mistake is buying the thinnest bags available simply because they are cheaper. On a normal day, thin bags may be good enough, but when they are filled with wet trash, sharp objects, heavy materials, or used to line a sanitation bucket, one small tear can turn a hygiene problem into a nightmare. It is better to keep at least one box of contractor-grade or heavy-duty bags stored in a dry, accessible location away from heat sources. A heavy-duty trash bag will not make a crisis disappear, but it can help you gather the mess, seal it up, and keep it away from the place where your family eats, sleeps, and breathes. When sanitation systems stop working, the line between cleanliness and chaos can sometimes be no thicker than a sheet of plastic, but it has to be a thick one. If you could choose only one item from the emergency sanitation category, would you choose heavy-duty trash bags, soap, or reusable cleaning cloths? 8. Bar soap. After several days without electricity or with limited water, what wears people down is not just hunger or heat. It is the feeling of having dirty hands all the time, sweat clinging to your clothes, the kitchen beginning to smell, and even the smallest daily tasks becoming uncomfortable. At that point, a bar of soap is no longer just a cheap item sitting in the bathroom. It becomes a way to feel normal again, even if only for a few minutes. In the United States, a bar of soap typically costs about $1 to $2, and buying multi-packs makes it even cheaper. Compared to many liquid hygiene products, it is more compact, less likely to leak, easier to divide, easier to store, and can last a long time if kept dry. When stores begin limiting hygiene products, clean water must be conserved, or several people are sharing a small living space. A single bar of soap can be used for hand washing, quick bathing, washing a few pieces of clothing, cleaning tools, and reducing body odor during stressful times. The value of soap is not in its fragrance. It is in the control it provides. Control over your hands before eating, control over odors in an enclosed space, and control over the growing sense of discomfort when everything around you seems to be getting dirtier. Because everyone needs hygiene, bar soap is also easy to use, easy to divide, and easy to trade without requiring much explanation. Choose a simple, gentle variety whenever possible. A soap that can be used by the entire family is often more valuable than specialty products. It is also a good idea to store soap in a dry container or bag. If it stays wet continuously, it will soften, wear down faster, and become more difficult to store. In normal life, cleanliness is something most people take for granted. But when daily routines are disrupted, being able to wash your hands with a small bar of soap is about more than hygiene. It is about dignity, peace of mind, and the feeling that you still have some control over your life. 7. Survival candles. There is something interesting about darkness. It does not just make a room darker, it also makes people think differently. A home without power for a few hours may still feel normal, but by the first night, when a phone battery is down to just a few percent, flashlights must be used sparingly, and every corner of the house falls silent. Even a small source of light can change the atmosphere for an entire family. That is why a candle has never been just a candle. Today, a pillar candle or emergency candle in the United States typically costs only about $1 to $3, and buying them in bulk often reduces the cost to just a few cents per candle. They sit quietly on supermarket shelves, and most people do not think about them until the power goes out. But during a major storm or a prolonged outage that quickly empties shelves of batteries and emergency lights, candles become one of the simplest options because they require no charging. A small flame on the dinner table can help children feel less afraid, help adults read medication labels, and allow an entire family to sit together instead of sitting in darkness and worry. That is also why candles are easy to trade. One box can be divided into many individual candles, and everyone who receives one immediately understands its purpose. Avoid buying too many heavily scented candles, and do not forget to keep lighters or matches with them. A candle cannot light itself if you have no way to create a flame. A candle will not bring the power back, but it can keep a room illuminated, keep conversations going around the dinner table, and help a family remain calm. In many crises, what people need first is not the brightest light available. It is a small flame that reminds them that the story is not over yet. 6. Mini sewing kit. There was a time when people repaired torn clothes instead of throwing them away, took shoes to be resoled when the bottoms came loose, and stitched up an old backpack so it could be used for years longer. Then products became cheaper, easier to replace, and many of us gradually lost the habit of repairing things. But whenever the economy becomes difficult, supply chains break down, or prices rise sharply, society tends to return to an old rule. Repairing is almost always cheaper than replacing, and that is when a small sewing kit suddenly becomes far more valuable than it appears. Today, a mini sewing kit in the United States typically costs between $3 and $8 and usually includes needles, multiple colors of thread, a small pair of scissors, buttons, and a few basic accessories. That price is almost insignificant compared to the cost of a new jacket or a replacement backpack, which can easily cost dozens or even hundreds of dollars. What makes a sewing kit especially useful is that it does more than save money. It extends the life of the things you already own. A loose seam, a bag strap that is about to tear, or a small rip in a blanket can often be fixed in minutes instead of becoming another item that gets thrown away. Because sewing kits are compact, they can also be divided into small repair packs containing a needle, a few yards of thread, a couple of buttons, and a patch to trade or give to someone else when needed. Avoid buying the cheapest kits available. Many contain soft needles that bend easily, weak thread that breaks under stress, and no larger needles capable of repairing heavier materials such as backpacks or winter coats. A good quality sewing kit can sit quietly in a drawer for years and still be ready to work the moment you need it. If you could keep only one small repair item, would you choose a sewing kit, multi-purpose tape, or paracord? 5. Zipper storage bags. After a flood, there are many things people can replace. A chair, a mattress, a few sets of clothes, even an old refrigerator in the kitchen. But there are also things that once they become wet, moldy, or destroyed, no store can sell back to you. A birth certificate, insurance documents, prescription records, family photographs, or a piece of paper with important phone numbers written on it. And sometimes, the only thing standing between those items and a bag of dirty water is a zipper storage bag that costs just a few cents. Today, a box of zipper storage bags in the United States typically costs between $4 and $8, depending on the size and quantity. They do not look important. They do not produce light, make noise, or make anyone feel like they are preparing for a crisis. But when you need to leave home quickly, when a basement starts becoming damp, or when medications, batteries, matches, cash, or important documents need to stay dry, they become one of the smartest layers of protection in an emergency kit. The advantage of zipper bags is that they turn chaos into manageable sections. One bag for medications, one for batteries, one for documents, one for lighters and matches, another small bag for items set aside for trade or sharing. People also feel more comfortable receiving supplies that are clean, dry, and organized rather than mixed together. A common mistake is buying only one size or choosing bags that are too thin. Smaller bags work well for medications, cash, and batteries. Larger bags are better for documents, lightweight clothing, or a mini first aid kit. It is often best to keep several sizes available and organize supplies before they are actually needed. Many things lose their value not because they are useless, but because they become wet, dirty, or lost at the worst possible moment. A zipper storage bag will not save an entire house, but it may save the things you cannot buy a second time. 4. Work gloves. Ask someone who has worked outdoors for 30 years what their most important tool is. You might expect them to say a hammer, a saw, a drill, or a ladder. But most people who have repaired roofs, cleared fallen trees, carried wet lumber, or pulled twisted metal after a storm understand one simple truth. The first tool is always your hands. If you lose the ability to use your hands, every other skill you have must wait. A pair of work gloves in the United States typically costs between $5 and $15, while heavier-duty versions for demanding jobs may cost $15 to $25. On an ordinary day, many people see them as unnecessary. They think they are only moving a few boards, picking up some broken glass, carrying a few branches, or cleaning up for a few minutes. But after a storm or a prolonged power outage, the work is no longer just a few minutes. It can stretch into hours or days, involving rotting wood, wire, rusty nails, broken glass, and sharp debris that will not wait for you to react. The real value of work gloves is not in the fabric or the leather. It is in the number of tasks you can continue doing without stopping because of blisters, cuts, scrapes, or bleeding. They help you clean up, repair damage, carry heavy materials, cut branches, secure tarps, and handle things that bare hands should not touch. Because gloves wear out, get lost, and are needed by anyone doing physical work. They also become highly valuable trade items after disasters. The biggest mistake is buying gloves that are too thin, do not fit properly, or purchasing only one pair. One pair gets wet, another gets torn, or a family member suddenly needs to help. Any of those situations is enough to reveal that you did not prepare enough. In a crisis, strength is not measured only by how many tools you own. It is measured by how long you can continue using them. And sometimes, the thing protecting a person's ability to work is nothing more than a pair of gloves that cost a few dollars and were purchased before everyone else realized they needed them too. 3. Notebooks and pencils. There is a saying among people who have lived through disasters. The first thing to disappear is not food, it is information. Nobody remembers exactly how many bottles of water are left, who took the last pack of batteries, what the phone number is for a son living in another state, or which family is scheduled to receive fuel today. As people begin arguing, one person quietly opens a small notebook and reads back the information that was written down earlier. The argument ends immediately. That is the true value of paper and pencils. Today, a notebook in the United States typically costs between $2 and $5, while a good box of pencils usually costs about $4 to $8. They are among the least expensive items on this entire list, yet they can create one of the most valuable things during a crisis: organization. A notebook can become a family waterlog, a medication list for an elderly relative, a food inventory, a record of trades and exchanges, a neighborhood map, or a place to store phone numbers that smartphones have remembered for us for years. Pencils also have one advantage that a touchscreen will never have. They do not require electricity, internet access, software updates, or charging, and they still work after being dropped on the ground. The most common mistake is believing that your memory is good enough, or that your phone will always work. One extended power outage is often enough for people to realize that they cannot even remember their own child's phone number. A notebook will not make you stronger, but it can help an entire group think in the same direction, follow the same plan, and avoid making the same mistakes over and over again. When the screens go dark, paper does more than preserve information. It preserves order. 2. Microfiber towels. If you walk into a well-prepared home after several days without power, there is one thing that might surprise you. It is not the amount of stored food or backup batteries. It is the fact that everything is still clean. The countertops are not covered in dust. The windows are still clear. The tools are still dry, and the kitchen remains organized. Sometimes the secret comes down to a few microfiber towels that cost only a few dollars. A pack of microfiber towels in the United States typically costs between $5 and $12. Yet each towel can be washed and reused hundreds of times. While paper towels, cleaning wipes, and many disposable products quickly disappear from store shelves, items that can be used again and again become more valuable with each passing day. What makes microfiber especially useful is that it does far more than simple cleaning. It can clean glass without leaving streaks, wipe down kitchen surfaces, clean tools, wash vehicles, wipe off small solar panels, absorb water from countertops, dry equipment, or wrap around fragile items during transport. One good microfiber towel can replace dozens of rolls of paper towels without creating additional waste or requiring constant replacement. The problem comes when people buy towels that are too thin or use the same towel for every task. People with experience often color code them. One color for the kitchen, one for sanitation tasks, and another for glass and electronics. It is a simple habit, but it helps keep everything cleaner and extends the life of the towels. A microfiber towel that is washed tonight can still be working tomorrow, next week, and many months from now. That is when you begin to understand that a true asset is not something that gets used once. It is something that keeps coming back to serve you again and again. 1. Waterproof matches. In survival movies, people celebrate when they find food. But in real life, many people who have lived through snowstorms, power outages, or floods say that the first thing they look for is fire. Without fire, water feels colder, food becomes harder to prepare, damp clothes take longer to dry, and darkness becomes much more intimidating. That is why a small box of waterproof matches is often kept in one of the easiest places to reach. Today, a box of waterproof matches in the United States typically costs between $3 and $8. They are almost invisible on store shelves, and most people never pay much attention to them. But when a lighter runs out of fuel, the power is still out, and the damp air after a storm makes ordinary matches difficult to ignite. Waterproof matches become one of the most reliable ways to create fire. What makes them especially useful is that waterproof matches are not just for campers and outdoor enthusiasts. They are suitable for any family that wants a simple backup option. Each box is compact, lightweight, easy to store in a backpack, vehicle, or first aid kit, and can easily be divided into smaller packs for sharing or trading when someone needs to light a stove, start a candle, or create warmth. What many people do not realize until after a rainy night is that matches also need protection. Storing them in a damp drawer, allowing the cardboard box to become soft, or relying only on ordinary matches can leave an entire box useless at the exact moment it is needed most. A single match has almost no value when the sun is shining, but inside a cold, dark, and damp home, it may be the first thing that brings back warmth, light, and the feeling that you still have the ability to start over. Looking back at the entire list, you will notice that most of these items are not expensive, not flashy, and are often overlooked during a routine trip to the supermarket. But history has repeatedly shown that when normal life is disrupted, the true value of an item is not determined by its price tag. It is determined by whether it can still help people continue living, working, and maintaining their peace of mind. Now, I would like to ask you a question. If you could choose only 3 items from this list to keep in your home today, which ones would you choose and why? Share your answer in the comments below. Your choice might end up helping many other people as well.